What is up? What is up? What the hell is up, my Dark Horse friends and family? Here we are coming at you live and in living color. Look, sans headphones. I figured I don't need to listen to you. I'm here to talk to you, so I took the headphones off this morning. So I want to start with a question for you. How is taking moments to reflect can possibly impact your life and your business, right? And this is all about perspective. And I think perspective has so many meanings and so many definitions to so many different folks, depending on what road you have traveled. But I think it's all about the big picture, right? Putting situations into perspective can be about taking them beyond that little bitty infinitesimal moment, that snapshot that actually happened. And sometimes we get so focused on that snapshot that we blow it up, or maybe even the opposite. You shrink it down, right? Maybe you had something bad happen and you blow it up to something even worse than it is, or you had something good happen and you're underplaying it. I think perspective is about giving those singular moments the credit they deserve, right? And that's not overplaying it. That's not kind of putting it right there in that middle there, right? So I think putting moments into perspective can allow us to chill, right? Can allow us to go at things in a more focused and controlled manner. Yeah, when you're looking at something, let's say you had something bad happen to your life, you've heard my story any number of times, right? Obviously, the overcoming of a drug addiction, the loss of an 18-month-old daughter, and a pretty wicked divorce. I could easily blow those things up into massive, huge events, which they were, especially when you're going through them, and use them as a crutch to stay, down and out and bummed and everything. But I think being able to turn around and look back, as you've heard me use the phrase, look back into the abyss of a drug addiction, or look back into the turmoil of the death of someone so close, or look back into the trials and tribulations of battling it out almost to a physical point in a horrid divorce. You can look at those and you can glean some lessons. You can put them into perspective as to what's going on the rest of your life. But I know I was lucky enough to learn this lesson way back when, so it's kind of kept me focused, kept me moving forward, and I just wanted to come on here and share a little bit, especially after episode 182, where Vera gets on and shares the things that she's been through, multiple, I won't even say near-death experiences, but death experiences, right? The loss of her voice, not once, but twice in her lifetime. The abuses that she endured. The word suffered doesn't seem to really describe it in so much, that what she went through. But all these things, I hear a story like that and think, my life's been pretty much roses and ice cream, so I just wanted to take a moment to come on here and share with you about perspective, putting things in. Yeah, it's bad. Something happened to you and you're like, okay, I did not enjoy that at all. I wish it would have never happened. Okay, well, let's put it into perspective, and I think, let me leave you with some three, I think it's three little tactics to move forward, right? Number one, stop, breathe, think, then react. So I think for most people, and I'm one of them, I wear my heart on my sleeve. Knowing how I feel is probably not difficult. You can see it all over my face all the time. But when it comes to something happening in your world, pause. Take a breath. Let your brain work for a moment. This is a skill that works really well for public speaking. You heard me mention this yesterday in my Facebook Live, right? Pause. Breathe. Let your mind think and then react. I know it's going through Toastmasters. One of the great skills of Toastmasters was not just the ability to prepare a speech, to practice that speech, to get up in front of an audience and to give that speech. I think one of the greatest lessons I was able to glean from that was the art of the impromptu response. And you get up there, they have a section on the agenda, and I know it seems like I'm going off on a tangent here. Bear with me. I'm going to bring us full circle. They have a section on the agenda called Table Topics. And this is where someone, the Table Topics master, has prepared a series of questions that they're going to ask someone who's not already giving a speech to come up. They're going to be asked the question, and then they respond. And you have, I think it's 30 to 90 seconds to give your response, to shut up and, then sit down. And this is a great tool for everyone to try, because how many times have you had a peer or, someone you look up to, right? Or a boss come up to you and ask you a question, and you're like, you know the answer. It's not that you don't know the answer. It's just that you have that struggle formulating because you haven't practiced it. And one of the greatest things about practicing table topics is that the first thing you do is you listen to the question, you pause. It seems like it's a year, but it's maybe 2 seconds. You're 1001, 1002, right? It's not that long. You take a breath, and all this time your mind is evaluating or formulating, probably more is a better word, the answer. Then you react. You give that answer. And I think when it comes to perspective, we need to take on that same table topics execution model. Something happens. Someone says something to you. Pause. Take a breath. Think. This is going to be the tough one, right? Let the head go. Good. All right. And then give your reaction. I think one of the great things that'll happen is your brain will say, okay, I didn't like that. That was stupid. Whatever things screaming might be happening in your head. Let's think about this for a second and then go forward. Or what a great example was when I lived down in Atlanta. I used to have to drive the I-75 corridor in Atlanta, and anyone who's ever driven in Atlanta will tell you, awful traffic in Atlanta. I think it's like any major metro area, right? It's a struggle, and people will get rude and they'll cut you off, and you're on your horn, and you get road rage and you get mad. And I was listening back then. I was all about turning, that drive time into automobile university. And I remember Zig Ziglar giving a presentation about, that guy that cut you off, and you're honking the horn, and you're giving him the high sign with one finger, and you're throwing the expletives, and then you get to work and you tell your friend about this guy that cut you off. And meanwhile, the guy that cut you off is going merrily about his day, not giving a care in the world about you. Why would you want to give them the power of controlling that much of your life and having that much control over your emotions, right? Just totally throwing you up into turmoil. So that guy cuts you off. Pause. Breathe. Think. Right? Maybe their exit is coming up. Maybe they're just rude. Who cares? And then react, okay? And it'll help take all those little moments that get over-exasperated and turn them into what they really are. Little moments, okay? And when they are really good moments, when you go through that thinking process, you're going to go, okay, I really need to react to this because it is this scenario. Now, I think the next one I wanted to leave you with is reflection. And I know I mentioned this earlier, and you've heard me mention this any number of times. I know when I hop on the lives on Mondays and I say, hey, what 1, 2, or 3 things do you plan on doing this week? Then you, about halfway through the week, I'll ask the question, how's it going? But the key is to that is at the end of your week on Friday or Saturday is to take a minute and to reflect back. All right, here's where I wanted to be, right? I wanted to get those 1, 2, or 3 things done. And here's where I am, and I want to reflect back on that. Now, here's the good and the bad about that. The good is, if you got it done, you're like, yeah, I'm awesome. If you didn't, you could beat yourself up, and you could beat yourself up pretty hard. But if you do this on a regular basis, and you don't wait weeks and months and like, wow, I was going to do this one thing and get this one goal done, and I never got it done because I'm lazy and I'm stupid, and I sit there and I'm on the couch with potato chips and Netflix, whatever the reasons are. But if you think on Monday, I want to get these 1 or 2 or 3 things done, this one thing done, and on Friday you didn't get it done, you can look back with clear perspective and reflect on, here's why. Maybe something happened. Maybe your kids got sick. Maybe life got in the way. Maybe some barrier threw itself up that you were not anticipating, and you're still working through that barrier. Then see, now it's clear. It's unfogged. It's right there in front of you, and it's in the perspective it needs to be: big, small, right, left, up, down. And it helps keep you from beating yourself up. And if you got it done, well then, yeah, throw your shoulders back, let that cape fly off of you and go, yeah, I'm awesome. All right, so, again, we're going to start with the stop, breathe, think, and react. We're going to reflect on a regular basis. And then I think that reflection will really be even more helpful when you know where you're going. Right, here we go. Tracy's going to go on about goal setting again. Okay, so I won't go in deep about the goal setting, but you know already, I'm a big fan of goal setting, having your vision of where you want to go. But here's the thing, having a direction, right, is a huge motivator in life. And when that obstacle throws itself up, which it will, it's not a matter of if, it's when it does, right? When that obstacle presents itself, having that direction, that motivation to move you forward, and using that reflective and that stop, pause, think, and react model in as a habit will keep you going forward. It will help you go dig under, jump over, go around, heck, bust through whatever that obstacle is, and it'll help keep a lot of things in perspective. And I think this is probably a good moment to think, a good moment to say, hey, it's been a crazy year. If we look at the past, it's been a little over a year now since all this nuttiness with COVID has started, and things have flipped on its ear. Having a perspective of all the changes that you've encountered, endured, or engaged in over that past 12, 13, 14 months is a good exercise to go through. But keep it in perspective, right? Stop, right? Pause, breathe, think, and then react. But then know where you're going so that you can keep it all into perspective. You know what? In the big scheme of things, that was a stumble, that was a bumble, that was a trip, that was a fall, that was a face plant. Or maybe it was a good thing. You're like, wow, now that I really think about that, what happened was really a good thing, because it's going to help me get to where I want to go just a little bit faster. All right? So just a few nuggets to think about coming off of Vera Lee Kernow's excellent stories that she shared with us about her life. Tomorrow we're going to talk about things that you can do right now, to improve your perspective on life and business. All right. With that, I'm going to leave you as I always do. Think successfully and take action. Peace.